Welcome to the 42nd Annual Sun and Fun Fly-In International Convention and Fly-In here at Lakeland Linder Regional Airport. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts for Florida Aviation Network, and you can view this, if you're not already viewing this, on www.floridaaviationnetwork.com. And we bring compelling shows to you here every day for hours on end, trust me. And we have today with us the recipients of the Southeast Region General Aviation Awards program. And these guys are they are legends in their own minds. And actually, we're just proud to have them here. We have Mike D. Mike, welcome.
Mark.
Mark D. Mark D.
Okay.
Mike Z. Mark D. And Jack M. I'm going to let these guys explain to you their names, but we have flight instructor, we have fast team representative, and maintenance award recipients here. And we are a little bit squeezed on time, so I'm going to ask you guys just some quick questions. Mark D., your last name and how you got your start in aviation?
Last name's Ducorsky. I got my start in aviation when I was about 14 years old. I went to a place called Camp Solo in Bangor, Maine.
Camp Solo in Bangor, Maine. Speak up just a little bit.
Sure,
Mark.
Camp Solo at Bangor, Maine.
Bangor, Maine.
Yeah, there we go.
And coming back to you later on, Mark, Jack Mendez, tell us a little bit about where you got your start in aviation.
I've been around aviation almost all my life. My dad was a mechanic and a pilot, and so I was hanging around airports at a very young age. And started flying myself not until about 1983.
Wow, so you got a late start,
Yes.
late bloomer.
Yes.
That's good. And Jack, let's move on to Mike Z. Mike, your last name, give it to me one more time.
All right, it's Zidziunas.
That's easy.
Yeah,
it just rolls right off
until
the tongue.
Until you see it written, and then it's not pronounced the way it looks like it should be spelled, so that's why Mike Z. I got my start in aviation from my Aunt Betty, who learned to fly when she was 19 years old in 1947. She ended up marrying her flight instructor, and we actually named the Cub that the kids just restored after her. She passed away a few years ago. I soloed an airplane in 1977 before my father would let me solo a car. So I'm pretty proud of that. Here I am today.
Good. So you're both a mechanic and a pilot.
Yes, sir. I got into being a mechanic out of self-preservation. The state of GA maintenance was pretty bad a few years ago.
Yeah.
People were doing things that weren't authorized, and there were some pretty scary things going on. So I felt the need to get involved and figure out how the thing worked on a more intimate level to be able to save my life.
Well, and I'm sure that Mark appreciates you doing that.
Yes.
And Mark, even though you're not talented as a mechanic, I'm sure you know how to fix things if it starts to go the wrong direction.
Yeah, I have some mechanical experience.
You can check oil, you can do tire change.
All the Part
plug.
43 stuff.
Perfect.
We can do all that.
Excellent. And I noticed you guys are wearing similar shirts. Would that be by design or?
It's a sheer coincidence, man.
Okay. And you guys are with, let's give a plug for
Lakeland Aero Club.
There you go, almost in
sure.
unison. We practiced that 4 times before we did this. And Jack Mendez with the Fast Team. What is the Fast Team all about?
Fast Team is an FAA program, both FAA staff and volunteers like myself, and we help enhance aviation safety by always having meetings and bringing safety issues up at the forefront and bringing in speakers, and we're also very tied in with the Wings program, so you're constantly working on improving your skills and staying current and just improving safety record.
So would you say, Jack, that the Fast Team is the kinder, gentler side of the FAA that people like to interface with?
Absolutely. They're more interested in training and outreach and education than they are in enforcement issues.
Ooh, you said the E word. Oh my goodness! But no, the E word is very important in this business because if you don't know it better, these airplanes can hurt you. But you have to do the right type of training, you have to get the right mentality, the right focus, and you have to have the right association. And that's why it's so important with these guys. If you know them, stay close to them. If you don't know them, get to know them. And the folks that they touch and impact in the industry. What else, Mark, from your aspect for flight instruction, you don't get to be a regional recipient without having done some remarkable things that have a positive outcome. And as far as positive outcomes, what is your numbers of flight instruction students that you kick out, either a quarter, a week, a year? What's your current enrollment, and can you use any more?
Sure. We're really not geared towards numbers. We're geared much more towards quality and airmanship. And I'm lucky enough to work with the James C. Ray Flight Scholarship and Sun and Fun in promoting aviation and bringing new young aviators into aviation via the James C. Ray Scholarship Fund. And it's really an honor, and it's something that it's like nothing else. And that, combined with what's now the Lakeland Aero Club and the new facility that we've been so graciously given to be able to bring even more youth into aviation, not only powered aircraft, but gliders and so forth, we're looking forward to creating some of the best airmen, and that includes ladies as well, into aviation.
And that's something you just mentioned, the airmen, and yes, even though it's a masculine, the masculine and feminine are covered. It even says that in the regulations. That much I retained. But yeah, we're talking very much about ladies in aviation.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to say that they make better pilots than mechanics.
Okay.
But that's a little challenge for you boys and girls out there. You guys, you better step up. The ladies are going to take this thing over. So, and that's good. It's always, if you want to get more men involved with aviation, get women involved in aviation.
Oh, there
I
you go.
guarantee
Great
it'll
idea.
pick it up.
Yeah.
Jack,
Yes, sir.
FAST team. Tell
Yes.
me a little bit more about what the FAST team has coming up and to proliferate the activities of the positive aspects of the FAA.
Well, I belong to the Daytona Beach Fast team, and we put on programs there every month. Bring in speakers, have special seminars on a vast variety of topics, weather, just loss of control, just pretty much any subject we can talk about. And the idea is to keep the people involved with thinking about safety, with maybe bringing up some things they learned at one time but maybe have forgotten, and things that maybe they actually had heard but really didn't stick in their head. And we're just trying to refresh it all the time. And plus we get about 100 people at most of our meetings, so we have some really experienced people and some newcomers, and the conversation between the experienced and the new people in the industry brings in some interesting topics and some interesting comments, and I think it helps everybody learn. And the main thing is just to keep it in the forefront all the time.
Jack, help me here. You work closely with the FAA.
Yes, sir.
And is there an opportunity, do you see a thread or a pattern, if you wanted to get in with the FAA, would you try to become more involved with the FAST team to have an avenue to get to the FAA if you want to be an inspector someday?
I would think that would make sense because, very honestly, we work closely with them. You get to know the regional guys and the local guys from the FAA. A lot of times they are our speakers. Sometimes we're coming over for their training. So you do, develop that relationship. They get to know you a little bit. You get to know them. You get to know the pieces of the puzzle. So I would say that's absolutely true.
Okay, good. And Mike Z, I guess you saw this coming. You see give it to me. What are you doing to get more mechanics in this business? Because we got to have about 500,000 mechanics in the next couple of years. Where are we getting them?
Mark and I work closely together with the Lakeland Aero Club, and it's associated with the CFAA, the high school across the street here. And CFAA is one of 3 high schools that has an FAA-approved airframe and power plant course in the country. And what we do with Lakeland Aero Club is after school. The past project, our students spent 3 years restoring a Piper L-18C. This airplane was built in 1953 for the Turkish Air Force. The Turkish Air Force retired them about 15 years ago, and all these Americans went over and, oh, cheap Cubs, and they brought all these Cubs back in these containers and found out they had never had a U.S. airworthiness certificate. So they either had to jump through all the hoops to make it meet its type certificate, which is quite a process, or turn them into experimental. Well, the airplane got donated to us. It had gone through owner after owner who found out that heartbreaking news. And we got it as basically a box of junk that resembled a Piper Cub. And the students spent 3 years doing the research, putting the plane together. We invite you to go over there and look at it in the new Aero Club hangar. But on April 1st of 2015, it got its first U.S. airworthiness certificate, standard airworthiness certificate. So what we're doing is a hands-on thing. And if you come in that hangar after school lets out, there's anywhere between 8 and 15 kids in there every day working on their airplane. And now we have 4 airplanes and 2 Cubs, Cessna 150, old straight tail 150, and a little light sport. We're getting ready to restore the glider so we can start our glider operation. And we're currently restoring a 1939 Taylorcraft, which we hope to have flyable by Sun and Fun of next year. This is how we're doing it. These kids are coming in after school to do this because they want to. They're interested, and it's hands-on. And when you go over there and look at that Cub, it was entirely done by teenagers. It's not a bunch of graybeards doing the work and them holding the flashlight. I'm the one holding the flashlight, and they're doing the work.
Speaking of graybeards and long tooths, you know, kids used to be 10 years old. As I've aged, I know kids that are 30 years old. I mean, what are we going to do to pull these guys out? And I know we're doing it here. And James C. Ray, he's really put his pocketbook where his mouth is, where he's wanted to help. So what else can we do, Mike, Jack, Mark, to stimulate getting these kids not only to get involved with it, but stick with it? Because, I mean, there's a lot of flashes in the pan,
right,
and then they get into it and say, it's really not for me. I don't know if I don't think I want that responsibility of putting my name on something responsible for somebody's life.
I think the secret is to give it to them, put it to them. That airplane is their airplane. It's not my airplane. They're not working on my airplane. They have the responsibility to do it. They're learning it while they have basically a safety net, us, around them to guide them. So by the time they're in a position to be a mechanic, I think they're going to be more confident because they're not leaving some school where all they've worked on is some airframe that's never going to fly again. Not only is it going to fly, they're going to be flying it. So I think that gives them a great deal of confidence. And the secret was, it's their airplane. It's not Sun and Fun's airplane. It's not Mark's airplane or my airplane. That airplane was given to them. And I think that's the key to making the program work and getting it to stick with it.
Okay, how are we going to replicate these not only programs, and Jack, from the FAST team standpoint, how do we replicate all the good work that's been done here elsewhere? I mean, do you have folks coming to you, asking you, how did you do it? What do we do? We want to get something like this started in our community. How do we do it? Where do we send them?
Are you talking? Yeah, that's a question.
Yeah, to the group. Yeah.
Come here and see what we're doing. What we've done here is replicable anywhere. And it just takes a few people who are willing to give these young people the responsibility. And sure, in the Cub, that engine came on and off 6 times. They did it wrong. They're hurry. Okay, are you sure you're ready to put that on there? Oh yeah, we're ready to put that on there. Oh shoot, we forgot to put the mags on. They got to take it off. Those are learning opportunities. Instead of running around and go, no, you dummy, you put the thing on without the mags on. That's not the way to teach anybody anything. And we're going to let them make a mistake in a place where they can make it and not hurt anybody. Yeah. So I think that's really the key. And it takes some volunteers who are willing to work up. I mean, before this became my job, this was a 500-hour-a-year volunteer position. I mean, it is hard work. You've got to roll up your sleeves. But I would challenge anybody out there, you can complain about the problem of not having enough mechanics and not having enough pilots, so you can roll up your sleeves and help. And remember that these people who are just coming out of high school are the age of the people who won the Second World War.
that really hurt, Mike. I was feeling good till you brought that up. But I tell you, honestly, all you gentlemen have so much to contribute, and you have done so much as far as contribution. And I look forward to hearing what else you're going to be doing. What are we going to be doing today? Did I hear somebody? Did I smell a B-17 ride?
There's talk.
There's talk.
There's talk.
But we have to remind ourselves where we are.
Okay, because anything we can do to help, even if we stir it up a little bit, start the rumor. They're going to have to act on it now.
I like
It's
the
now
way you
put out
think.
on national television.
There you go.
Yep.
But Jack, and I've got to say this from a volunteer standpoint. Bless you.
Thank you.
Was that a sneeze or cough?
Cough.
Okay, well,
Same
never
thing.
mind.
I need
Take it
the
back.
blessing.
Okay. Normally, you're on the other side of these cameras as a
Absolutely.
volunteer.
Yes, sir.
And I can't tell you how it's reassuring when you go into the Daytona Beach area to a safety meeting and you always see Jack. Jack is always there. And I'm sure that had something to do with your appointment here as a recipient here for the region. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make you go all the way to the Nationals.
Well, thank you.
Because we've got to recognize you men that have spent the majority of your adult life probably in aviation, and it's I don't know of any other career that you can spend so much time and sometimes feel guilty about getting a paycheck. They actually pay me to work on these airplanes or to fly these airplanes, or in your case, I know that you're not an avionics technician.
That's good.
That was a little print error, but in your career, how much flight time have you amassed here, Jim?
I've got about 4,000 hours. I own a Piper Arrow, and my wife and I, we fly it pretty much all over the eastern half of the United States during the summer. We have, I'm semi-retired. I still work part-time, and I go out and visit customers most of the summer using the Arrow. And so we get about 150 hours a year.
Good. And Mike, I know you get more time by accident than most people get intentional.
Yeah, I'm just shy of 4,000 hours.
Mark, how much flight experience do you have?
I try not to keep track of it. If you went by what's logged and not logged, I don't know, maybe 10,000 hours. A lot of dual instruction given.
Okay, gentlemen, do you still get that little butterfly of excitement when you know that you got a trip coming up and you're getting ready to take it? You're checking your weather, and that little surge of adrenaline and it's something that unless you get involved in aviation, you really don't know what that feeling is like.
Yeah, it's certainly a thrill. And the same thing happens really before you show up for a flight lesson with a student, because you never know what they're going to throw at you, and I myself look forward to learning a lot from my students every flight.
Now, come on now. Honestly, what you're trying to say is I can't wait to see how these guys are going to try to kill me today.
Well, that happens. That happens as well.
But that's part of the learning process.
Exactly.
And,
you need to let them learn. They have to make
sure.
mistakes, at least non-fatal ones, in order to learn.
And loss of control, that's one of our major situations
Clearly.
right now. That's the leading cause of accidents in this is loss of control. And but in order to learn how to maintain and keep it in control, you got to let it go to a point to where it's either out of control or just about to go there before they learn it. Demonstrating a VMC, of course, you guys don't have the multis going over there, but you got to let them go up, and every now and then, I got to admit, my first multi-engine experience with VMC, he let me take it right up and over, and I learned the hard way.
That's a hard one.
But by golly, I never forgot it, and I never let that happen again intentionally.
Good idea.
So, we had enough altitude, but maintenance-wise, Mike, you have probably the hardest task of any because there's so much. I mean, flying is not easy, but maintenance is a lot more detailed, and there's a lot more depth to. You haven't guessed I'm a mechanic by heart, but and I fly just because it's fun.
Yep.
but to be, I call it the ultimate airman, and I challenge you guys to come up with the ultimate airmans. The folks, to be a good mechanic, you really need to know how to fly. And to be a good pilot, you really need to know about what's going on behind the airplane. And to be a good total airman, you got to know about the rules and regulations. Gentlemen, I want to thank you on behalf of the crew and
Thank
the
you.
staff here. And
Thank
take
you.
the time out of your busy day, because I know you're going to be busy afterwards. And we always welcome you here. Anytime, anything we can do for you, Florida Aviation Network, please let us know.
Thank you,
And
Ben.
Until
Thank you, Ben.
we reach another pinnacle of aviation here at Sun and Fun, the 42nd Sun and Fun, we want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to the next interview. See you.